Greetings. Welcome back to Ham Radio Test and Review. My name is Dave. My call sign is N8DAV, and you're looking at my beautiful home in the woods here in Flagstaff, Arizona. Motto for my channel is one test is worth 1,000 expert opinions. Today, I'm going to be doing a review of a Comet antenna, model SMA503J. I'll be right back and I'll give you all the specifics. All right. This Comet SMA503J is a dual band antenna for the 2 meter and 70 centimeter bands. It's 8 3/4 inches long. It's a rubberized whip. It has an SMA female connector. It is specified as being a 50 ohm antenna, and it does not have any specification as far as SWR, whether it's resonant on any frequency, and it's rated for a maximum of 10 watts. There is no gain specified on this particular antenna as well. Now, this antenna is a very flexible whip, as you can see. It is a verified Comet, so don't try to tell me that it's a fake or a knockoff. The package that it comes in, very, very nice package. And it does come with a rubber gasket. It basically is also specified to work on many frequencies now. The packaging states that it's specified to work on receive only for 118 to 160 megahertz, 250 to 290, 360 to 390, 420 to 470, and 820 to 960. All right. So that's a pretty wide band there. And the price I paid for this antenna is, you see, $33.99. Now, this antenna also appears to maybe come from the Japanese market. Now, you know, a lot of the Comet and Diamond antennas are actually made in Japan. So some of them are packaged for the Japanese market, and some of them make their way here into the United States. So just be aware of that if you do buy one. All right, I'll be right back. First up, we are going to run the 2 meter SWR test using my Surecom Power SWR meter. I always run the SWR tests on the 2 meter, 70 centimeter, and I will also try the GMRS band today as well. And we will get that done here. And then after that, I will use the NanoVNA antenna analyzer to also run an SWR test to verify the results I'm getting with the Surecom. All right, so here we go. First up is the 2 meter test, and we have an SWR of 3.20. Next up is the SWR test on using the Surecom SWR power meter on the 70 centimeter band. And we come up with an SWR of 2.89. And last but not least, I'll do the SWR test on the GMRS channel 16 for all those GMRS fans out there. We get SWR of 2.76. All right, this is the NanoVNA antenna analyzer. When I turn it on, it is set to analyze the Comet SMA503J antenna on the 2 meter band. And for an SWR on 146.52, we get an SWR of 3.971. Next up, I'm going to test the antenna on the 70 centimeter band. And we'll send this over to 446. So we compare apples and apples. And we get an SWR of 2.801. And last but not least, we are going to test on the GMRS band. And we got an SWR of 2.792. Like to run the field strength test. Field strength test gives us an idea how much power is being put out of the antenna. I always use the same radio on the same power setting with a brand new fresh battery every single time on the same channels. So here's the field strength test for the 2-meter band. As soon as I'm done, I will get the results to you at the end of the video so you can understand how they compare to other antennas that I've tested so far. Next is the field strength test on the 70 centimeter band. And last but not least is the field strength test on GMRS channel 16 for all of our GMRS bands out there. All right, I'm out here at my favorite park. This is Fox Glen Park in Flagstaff, Arizona. This is the place I come to test my HT antennas. Not the stubbies, but the regular HT dual band, tri-band antennas. I do this place because I have about a 3.6 mile line of sight. Well, I shouldn't call it line of sight. I can see the tops of the trees where my house should be. However, I know that there's some buildings, a freeway, and maybe a hill or two that might help block the signal. So a good antenna can get through pretty good. Mediocre antenna is going to have some sizzle to it, and a bad antenna will just barely get through or not through at all. So let me come right back, and we'll get started with the test. Okay, I have the Comet SMA503J on top of my trusty Baofeng UV17 Pro GPS. I have a full battery to make the test consistent with all the other tests that I perform. And I'm using an UHF simplex band like I usually do. And here we go. This is N8DAV testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
This is N8DAV testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right. Well, guess what? That actually wasn't a bad test. Not a great test, but wasn't a bad test. You could hear some sizzle in the background. That means that it was struggling a little bit to get to the repeater. By the way, I tested the repeater right before I walked over here. I walk about, I don't know, a couple hundred yards from the truck. And I always test with my mobile rig to make sure that I'm getting a good, strong signal both to the repeater and back from the repeater. Because otherwise the test wouldn't be fair. And if you like my tests and my reviews and the content that I put out on my channel, please consider subscribing to my channel. That really helps out a lot. It doesn't cost you anything, and all it does is it helps my numbers a little bit, and it gives me a little bit better exposure in the algorithm that YouTube has. And so I would really appreciate it. And if you like my content enough, maybe you'd like to also click on the bell icon so you'll get notifications of every time I release content into my channel. So anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate your consideration. So what did we learn today for this SMA503J HT antenna? Well, first of all, pretty wiggly. Not one of my favorite things in an antenna. It needs to be flexible, but it needs to not wiggle so much. I think they should be a little bit stiffer, but you know, a lot of women have told me that. Anyway, so here is what I think about this antenna, and I'm going to give you all the specs, all the results of all the tests that we had. On 2 meter, on the power SWR meter, we had 3.2 SWR. With the NanoVNA, we ended up with 3.9. So pretty close, not as close as I'd like it. I usually like to have 0.5 or less, but still, I think that shows that that it's the reading is pretty close. Now with the 70 centimeter, we had 2.89 on the power SWR meter and 2.80 with the NanoVNA. That was pretty darn close. Um, and then on the uh, GMRS bands, we had 2.76 on the power SWR meter and 2.792 on the NanoVNA. So as far as I'm concerned, the readings that we got are accurate, and but are they good? So here's my opinion about that. A lot of people feel that 2.0 or less is the only thing that's acceptable, and I think for high-powered radios that pretty much holds true. But for HTs are designed to be able to have a higher SWR on their antennas and not blow up, not burn out, or anything like that. And for the most part, most of your HT antennas are a higher SWR. So I try to say that if it's 3.0 or less, then it's acceptable. If it's 2.0 or less, to me, it's good. And if it's less than, let's say, 1.5 to 1, then I think that we're looking at excellent. So that's how I rate HT antennas. The next set of tests are the field strength readings that I got with the field strength meter. So on the 2 meter band, I got minus 0.81 dB. Now, I'll tell you, as an average of all the other antennas I tested, this is one of the worst readings I got. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the worst performer, but it probably would be. Now, I did not test this for distance on 2 meter. I only have the luxury of testing on one band only, whether I do it on 2 meter or on 70 centimeter, or in the case of GMRS antennas, I test on the GMRS band. In this particular case, I tested on the 70 centimeter band. And so, as it just so happens, on the 70 centimeter band, the field strength was 0.3. That was a plus 0.3. Now, that came out to be just slightly above average of all the other antennas I've tested. So it's very close to average. I mean, very slightly above. So I'm going to call it average of all the other antennas. Now, when I went out and did the field strength or the real world test with modulation and with all the obstacles and everything at 3.6 miles over at the park, it came out okay. I mean, it was a little bit better than average, but pretty much there was some sizzle in there, a little bit of static. But the modulation was strong and it was good. It was very readable and understandable. And then on the GMRS band, you also have to understand this is not rated for GMRS. On GMRS, I got a minus 4.2, which is about less than average from all the other antennas that I've tested, especially the diamond antenna, about the same length. So here's how I feel about all this. We got a small amount of static, and but the modulation was clear. So as far as I'm concerned, this antenna did perform a little bit above average to average. I wouldn't put it above, well above average. Let's put it that way. The diamond antenna, the equivalent, performed a little bit better, but once again, this is not a very long antenna. This is only, what was it, 8 3/4 inch long. This length and the 7 3/4 inch length antennas are my favorites, actually. Stubby antennas, I use them only when I don't have the need for something to reach out a little bit farther. And this is the size antenna that I go with if I need something a little bit shorter, but I still need to reach out a fair distance. Otherwise, I'm always running a signal stick. Signal sticks are 19 inches long. They whip around, they poke you in the eye, they go up your nose. I mean, these things are just wieldy. So anyway, this is my opinion. Would I buy this antenna? I think that if I got a good deal on one and paid less than retail for it, I might consider it, especially if I had to pay retail for the equivalent diamond antenna. If I had to pay the same price for a diamond or this Comet, I think I would go with the diamond. However, I don't think you'll notice a huge difference between the two. So that's, but again, this is my opinion, And as the motto of my channel goes, one test is worth 1,000 expert opinions. All right? Anyway, this is my channel, Ham Radio Test and Review. My name is Dave. My call sign is N8DAV. And I'm saying 73 to you, and so long.